Great. Hey, thank you for having me here today. I'm here today to support my really good dear friend Tony Beale for Congress. This wasn't a tough call, it wasn't a close call. Tony and I have worked extensively for years on real issues for real people. The issue most people are talking about these days is unfortunately gun control because of the tragedies on our streets. No one has worked harder than Tony on this. I used to be a representative, and I represented this area here in Roseland. And Tony and I worked hand in hand for years on this issue. And it ran the gamut from whether or not we were talking about the marches we did here, the community meetings we worked with, the policing meetings we did. We did it all. Then we tried doing it in Springfield as well, and I had very little luck, but Tony was there with me every step of the way trying to help me on the legislative side of it as well, trying to help there too. So here's a guy that understands real people's problems. As I said, I can go on and on from the different community things that we did here, including taking St. Martin de Porres High School, which was about to be shut down, and turning it into one of the most preeminent high schools in the city of Chicago right now. It was between work I did, but primarily Tony that kept it that way. And so, once again, we go back many, many years on issues that are real to real people. And where Tony steps out so differently than so many of the candidates in this race is that he's a hands-on player. I was down in Springfield. I'm not trying to diminish that, but that's a place where you introduce a lot of bills. You introduce a lot of bills, you occasionally get something done. When you're an alderman, you're hands-on, you're in the community, you're getting stuff done. And when it comes to the violence that we have in our streets right now, no one has done more in this race by far than Tony Beale. Absolutely no one. And so for me, this was an easy call, supporting him today because of all he's done and all he has done for the community, all he can do for this congressional district. He would do wonders for it. I absolutely know it because I know it because of what he's done before. So I'm very proud to support him today. I'm excited about it, and I look forward to him being the next congressman from the area. So?
Thanks, All right. First, I would like to thank Cook County Sheriff Tom Dart for his endorsing my candidacy for the 2nd Congressional District seat. Tom was an early supporter of mine when I first ran for alderman, and he has been a good friend. Over the years, I've admired his ability to enforce the laws, but yet show compassion. We all saw the handling of the Burr Oak debacle and the moratorium on enforcing evictions as a result of the foreclosure crisis. As someone who understands the importance of common sense gun legislation, Sheriff Dart is working with the legislature in order to create legislation to allow his sheriff deputies to enter the homes of anyone whose firearm identification card that has been revoked for a felony gun charge or conviction, and to confiscate any firearms that they may have. According to Sheriff Dart, approximately 36,000 of the 335,000 FOID cards issued in Cook County have been revoked. But his department has no power to see if those cardholders still have weapons. When we're looking for ways to stop gun violence in our homes and in our street, we must look at how we can close every loophole to strengthen the gun laws that we have. The fight to save our communities is about examining what we can do to stop the flow of guns into the wrong hands, including those with mental illness. As a former chair of the Police and Fire Committee, I co-sponsored the city's 2010 gun ordinance. During my tenure as alderman, I have been an outspoken proponent for reallocating police to put them where the crime is occurring. As a candidate for Congress, I've introduced additional solutions to strengthen the laws that we currently have. We must tackle our nation's obsession with guns and gun violence in our communities. From every level of government, I look forward to working with Sheriff Dart on this issue with other elected officials throughout the 2nd District to bring jobs to our communities that will sustain families and increase our tax base so we can give our young people the kind of education and careers and opportunities in order to thrive and be successful. I will work closely with Sheriff Tom Dart when I go to Congress, and I appreciate his endorsement. Thank you so much.
Michelle Obama just announced that she's come to Chicago for a Maria Pendleton's funeral. I wonder what you think of whether that's more symbolic than really have any realistic effect on Chicago's violence problem.
Well, I mean, at this time, I appreciate the First Lady coming to Chicago, but I think it is symbolic because of so many of our young people that are dying every single day. We have a Sandy Hook in Chicago every single year. So it's very important that we understand that we have to do something immediately about the gun control and the gun violence that's plaguing our community. So again, I appreciate the fact that she's coming here, but we also need to make sure that we pass common sense gun legislation that we've already passed here in the city of Chicago. But we need to take that model to the nation in order to get more guns off of the street.
Well, one could argue that the common sense gun legislation you passed in the city of Chicago doesn't work worth squat, given the violence in the city.
Well, that's because of the guns that are coming into the city of Chicago. We must stop the guns coming into the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago ordinance is a very strong ordinance. But when you look at the guns that are coming in, the fact that nobody is tracking gun sales at these gun shows, the gun shop loophole is something that we need to make sure that we close. And so I'm proposing that we do that on a national level. I'm not new to the gun issue. I've been fighting this thing for 14 years in the city of Chicago, and working with Tom as my tenure as alderman. So we must take this to the next stage. So I'm running for Congress because of the background that I have fighting for gun control and gun legislation, as well as bringing jobs to the area more so than anything. So I believe that I am the most qualified candidate in this race. I have 14 years of experience. If you add up all the experience of everyone else that's running in this race, I'm the only one that has the most experience. So I believe that I'm the right person for the job.
Anybody else?
No other questions?
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bud.
Thank you.
Good.